The evolution of the muscle car in the 1980s. From decline to a new identity, the 1980s were a pivotal moment in the life of the American muscle car, a time when the brute force machines of the 60s had all but faded. Yet a new kind of performance car quietly emerged from the ashes. Faced with mounting fuel regulations, shifting consumer expectations, and rising pressure from overseas competition, automakers had to adapt or abandon the segment altogether. Though the decade started on a somber note for muscle car fans, it gradually morphed into an era of redefinition, where ingenuity, technology, and resilience sparked a new chapter for American performance. The end of an era and the start of something new. By the late 70s, the classic muscle car seemed to be gasping its last breath. Skyrocketing insurance rates, government-imposed emission standards, and the double punch of the 73 and 79 oil crises had taken their toll. Former titans like the Chevelle, Roadrunner, and Charger either disappeared from showrooms or were stripped of their former power. To many, the golden age was over before the new decade even began. Yet instead of vanishing, muscle cars evolved. Car manufacturers began reimagining performance to fit the times, shedding weight, downsizing engines, and embracing technology. The raw horsepower of yesterday gave way to smarter, more efficient designs. It was less about brute strength, more about doing more with less, and it worked. One of the most transformative changes of the 1980s was the move toward fuel injection and onboard computers. These systems brought precision and efficiency to an era where every drop of fuel and every emission mattered. Carburetors, once the heart of American V8s, gradually stepped aside for electronic fuel injection, which delivered cleaner combustion and better throttle response. The 1982 Camaro Z28 marked a turning point with its crossfire injection setup. Primitive by today's standards, but forward-thinking at the time. Ford wasn't far behind. The Mustang GT, always a favorite, began to reclaim its performance chops thanks to a series of upgrades, culminating in the 5.0-liter high-output V8, a punchy, torquey engine that turned the Mustang into a street legend once again. The revival of the muscle car spirit became most evident in two camps: Ford's Mustang and GM's F-body pair, the Camaro and Firebird. Though hobbled by weak power plants in the late 70s, these icons found new life through smart engineering and timely redesigns. The 1979 launch of the Fox body Mustang brought with it a lightweight chassis and a more modern look. While early versions were mild, by 1985 the GT was pushing over 200 horsepower, a serious figure for the era. Thanks to its nimble handling and booming aftermarket scene, the Mustang became a beacon for performance-hungry drivers. Meanwhile, the third-generation Camaro and Firebird, both born in 1982, adopted sleeker lines and sharper handling. Chevy's IROC Z, rolled out in 1985, was more than just a trim. It became a cultural icon. With tuned port injection, a taut suspension, and aggressive styling, it captured the attention of enthusiasts and casual drivers alike. The Firebird Trans Am kept pace, especially after finding fame as KITT in Knight Rider, which gave it instant cool factor among a whole new generation. Turbocharging and technological experimentation. Even as V8s held their ground, the 1980s also opened the door to new performance tech, chief among them turbocharging. It was a gamble for traditionalists, but for some brands, it paid off big. Buick, in particular, left a mark with its turbocharged 3.8-liter V6. The 1987 GNX, developed in collaboration with McLaren, was a revelation. Pushing 276 horsepower and a mountain of torque, it proved that muscle didn't have to come from 8 cylinders. The GNX stunned critics and outpaced many V8 competitors, becoming a cult favorite and arguably the most important muscle car of the decade in terms of innovation. While the 1980s muscle car may never be remembered for the unbridled savagery of earlier models, its importance is undeniable. It kept the performance dream alive when it easily could have died. By embracing regulation rather than resisting it, American automakers managed to maintain the muscle car ethos in a new and smarter form. This decade laid the foundation for the resurgence seen in the 90s and 2000s. Without the workhorse 5.0 Mustang or the turbocharged GNX, cars like the Camaro SS or Challenger SRT8 might never have roared back into relevance. In conclusion, more than just a transitional era, the 1980s were a proving ground for the muscle car's future. Under pressure from all sides, economic, environmental, and cultural, these cars didn't fade away. They adapted. They survived, and they came out the other side, leaner, sharper, and ready to roar again. In doing so, they not only preserved a uniquely American tradition, but reimagined it for the road ahead.